The only real safety net that you will ever have is your belief in your own ability to figure it out.
You're listening to Say It Anyway, the podcast for people who know they're meant for more and are done holding back. I'm Maggie Marcus, and here we talk courage, self-trust, and what it takes to lead yourself, even when it scares the hell out of you.
Have you ever felt relieved at something that you would have thought might have disappointed you or devastated you or caused you to crash out? Like maybe you'd been hanging on to something a little too long, maybe telling yourself it's practical, it makes sense, it's secure, I've been in it for so long, and I can always pivot later. But deep down, whatever that thing is, that it's just not right for you anymore. Like maybe that same part of you deep down knows, even before you got the news, before the thing happened, that this was coming, that maybe even that it needed to happen. Maybe it was a relationship ending, a job, a plan that fell through, something that on the surface looked like a loss, but somewhere underneath it, it felt like relief when it finally came, when it finally happened. If you ever felt like that, stay with me, because I think that little knowing is trying to tell you something. I last week was leaving to go on a trip to my friend's bachelorette, and I was leaving Thursday morning. Wednesday evening at 5 p.m., I am leaving to go to the gym. I am sitting in my car. My COO of the company that I'm working at messages me and tells me to hop on the Zoom. And I'm like, okay, I think she wants to talk about this thing that we'd been messaging about earlier. So I get on. I'm sitting in my car, and I see as I hop on that not only is the COO there, the HR lady is there too. And I'm like, that's odd. I don't think I've ever actually I work remote. I've never really met the HR lady other than a few messages back and forth. I felt kind of this like rising panic in my chest. I'm just kind of confused what's going on. But before I could even get my thoughts straight, they launched right into it and told me, Maggie, this is going to be your last day. We're letting you go. And I feel blindsided, and I'm kind of confused because the reasons they're listing out to me for letting me go just aren't entirely making sense to me. And I'm not prepared to have this conversation. So all I'm thinking is like, I'm just caught off guard. I've worked at this company for nearly 5 years, and the way that I was being let go of, granted, it wasn't the same leadership as when I came on, but the way I was being let go of was so cold and just felt like they didn't care at all. Before I know it, the call is over, and actually the call was cut so short. I thought honestly that it was accidental that we were cut off the meeting, and I think we were. So I went back into my Slack to message them to say, hey, like, were we done? I just want to make sure. And my Slack was already terminated. I went to my email to send them an email that was already, my password had been changed prior to that. And I'm just sitting in the car staring out the window like, did that just happen? Like, it feels so surreal. And my body's sort of just like tingling. And I can feel that, there were so many things that I wanted to say that start coming up, right? Like, every time after the moments passed, you're like, oh, I should have said that. I could have said that. And there were so many things that I could have said and wanted to say that I didn't have a chance to because I was so like kind of taken by surprise. And I felt my ego was really bruised because it does not feel good to be seen a certain way that you're like, wait a second, I don't see myself that way. And so I'm recognizing like this is embarrassing a little bit. This is a bit embarrassing. Um, and I'm just sitting there trying to process. And I also have a million things to do because I've got to leave for the trip. And I just, like, there was things going on. It was also going to be my fiance's birthday. So I was trying to get gifts ready for him. I did a little scavenger hunt. Side note, super cute. But anyway, underneath all of that, as I'm sitting there, I knew and I felt a deep sense of relief. Like, I did not like that job. It was not the job that I initially like came in there to do. And I was kind of, it was a new position and it was still being built out, and it just didn't turn out to be what I thought it was going to be. And it was not aligned with me anymore. The company was not aligned with me anymore. I actually had wanted out for quite a long time. I'd even told my fiance that, just even a month or two leading up to this, that like, man, I should probably leave. Like, I'm just not happy there. And so, underneath all of this, the shame, the ego, the embarrassment, my knowing deep down was like, this is supposed to happen. This was supposed to happen. This is the right thing. And this is like something I'm going to look back on this moment and call it very pivotal. Like, I know that deep in my bones that this was the right thing for me and in the direction that I'm headed in. See, sometimes we think that safety and certainty have to come from having the right things in order, having the right job, the right plan, the right circumstances lined up before we can move into what it is that's truly calling us forward. Like, everything has to be just right, because I had been in this job knowing that this wasn't going to ever be the end goal, and wanting all along to go all in on my goals with my public speaking and the podcast and all the stuff that I've been doing on the side. But I held on because it allowed me to stay comfortable. It allowed me a backup plan. It allowed me to keep one foot in just in case. And it allowed me like security, which makes sense, right? Like, it helped me with the finances, because not to mention, if you've listened to me before, I'm planning a wedding this year. So I was like, oh, shiza, like the timing of all of this. I'm planning this wedding. There's all this money going out. I've got some loans that I'm paying off, and I was also leaving for the trip the next day. So I was like, oh, great. I just spent a bunch of money, and I'm going to spend more money on this trip. But like, I can either look at that and say, is this horrible timing? Or I can look at that and say, oh, this might be perfect timing for me, because this is like the push that I need. And also, going on a trip is maybe the perfect thing for me in this very moment, because like, this is a way to pull me out of my current environment, so I don't sit here and like overthink or spiral in any way. I get to be around good people. I get to have a good time. But so we can always it's always the way we're interpreting things, right? Or situations. But I think that a lot of times we stay in these situations that we're not entirely fulfilled with and we're not entirely happy with, and we stay comfortable and we keep holding on to something that is safe. But in doing that, we stay stuck, right? Like, if you are an entrepreneur and you are maybe holding on to a client that you have outgrown because the money feels secure, or you are staying in a leadership style, if you are a manager or an upper management in your company, you're staying in a leadership style that is not working, but it feels comfortable. It's what you guys have been doing. So you just keep doing what you've been doing. You stay in the routine of it all instead of trying something new and pivoting and taking a risk. Or the leader who stays in the department or in the role that has stopped lighting you up because the title sounds good, the status is too good to walk away from, but it's not where your genius or where your passion is. Like, maybe it's a different department, maybe it's a different role, right? Or maybe you're the person who's like, I am going to launch this initiative. I'm going to, launch this project or talk to, upper management, or to, I'm going to take my idea out into the world. right? And you've been thinking about this for like 3 years, or the podcast that you were going to start, the business you were going to start, but you never quite do because it's never truly the right timing. And we call it being responsible. We call it being prepared, being realistic. But a lot of the times it's just a lack of self-belief. It's a lack of courage. There, I said it. It's a lack of courage. And it's a lack of willing to back yourself up, because the boldest thing that you can do is back yourself up in public, to trust yourself enough to put it out there to other people, to the world, to the marketplace. And whatever, like, that pull that is within you, that that inner pull that's pulling you towards something, it's pulling you towards something that's really calling you. And because that doesn't go away. It becomes so hard to ignore, and it just gets louder until eventually life answers it for you, And, if you're like me, right? You get drop kicked into the thing that, and launched into the direction that you need to go in. What's funny is, like, the night before that I got let go, I had actually wrote in my notes, because I have a framework that I teach and that I talk about, which it leads us through phases of, like, awareness to then having compassion for ourselves, and then going into courage, and having, now that how we have awareness and compassion in those moments and opportunities where we might be on autopilot or react or see a trigger or a wound, now we have the courage to choose differently, to take risks. And from courage to then move into trust, that as we take courageous risks, as we take the chance and do things differently, we can start to build trust in ourselves, trust in backing ourselves up, in betting on ourselves, in putting things out there, and, like, really going for it and believing in our capabilities. And from there, we move into something called alignment, which I'll talk about in a different episode. But what's funny is that I had woke up in the middle of the night. I was just thinking about stuff. And I remember being like, I am really in my own phase of trust. Like, in my framework, I'm in the trust part of my own model, betting on myself, backing myself up, because I am still living in my safety net. And what's funny is that next morning I woke up and recorded my keynote. I recorded it in full. I was going to send it out to someone for a review. And then a few hours later, I get the Zoom call that I get let go. And I think that the timing of that is not just a coincidence. I think I have been circling this moment for months, waiting and wanting out, and staying in it anyways, even though energetically it was not for me. It was negative, it was draining, it was exhausting, and it was taking me away from the thing that I truly wanted, that I know that I've wanted and been pulled towards for years. And I needed, I suppose, something to come along and push me. Like, the universe gave me a chance. I was sitting there like, maybe I should leave. Maybe I got to figure something else out. And it gave me like a little bit of time. And then finally it said, nope, you decided to stay safe and comfortable. So we're going to push you. We're going to kick you out there into the world. And you're going to go do the thing that you have been talking about. And even though I've been taking steps in that direction, I wasn't going all in the way that I know that I can. And so life got tired of waiting, and, I got kickballed. That sounds kind of funny, right? I got kickballed. I got drop kicked like a kickball. I just got an image of me just like sailing through the sky. Yeah. That's me. But it really made me think, and I've talked about this before. I've journaled and reflected on this a lot. It's why there's a trust pillar in my entire model, but the only real safety net that you will ever have is your belief in your own ability to figure it out. Like, you backing yourself up, knowing that you have got yourself to this point. You have overcome every hurdle, every challenge, every hardship, and you have been resourceful and you have figured it out. And I think sometimes we forget how resilient we are and how capable we truly are, especially when shit hits the fan. And so there is no other safety net. That it's not the job, it's not the plan, it's not the comfortable option that you're keeping just in case. Like, you are the net. You are your backing. Like, that is it. Like, we have to believe that no matter what happens, because it's not dependent on the outcome. There's a lot of fear that, like, if I go for it and it doesn't work out, or if I fail, or if I look stupid, it's not about that. It's knowing that if that happens, that you will still be able to stand the hell up and figure it out and move forward, because you will. You will, you will, you freaking will. Every person who's ever built something real has had a moment where the rug got pulled out from underneath them. You know, they got fired, they went bankrupt, and they were so broke, they were blindsided, a door shut in their face, they were rejected, they didn't see it coming, right? And those are the ones who made it through. They are the ones who made it through, and they didn't even, like, maybe have a backup plan. They were the ones who just decided, I have my own back. I will figure this out. I always do. It is that exactly right there. I always do. That is the belief. That is what we need to remember in those moments, and look back and find the evidence in our life that tells us that. Because if you have that inner knowing and that inner backing, you will go out and take the chance. You will take the leap. You will take the risk. You will risk image, judgment, fear, safety, certainty. You will risk that. And in doing that, you open up possibilities. There is your expansion. That is you going out and living your life in a big freaking way. You will never be able to even have a chance of discovering that if you don't back yourself up, or not willing to believe that you will be able to stand up after you do that. And if you do end up falling, but what's the other side of it? You soar, you fly, you open up so much for yourself. People regret not what they did, they regret the things that they didn't do. And so if you want to live a big life, and you know that there's something inside of you that is pulling you towards something greater, something bigger, something that you know will make you happy, that will leave you more fulfilled, that will give you greater purpose. What the heck are you? Yeah, what the heck? Like, isn't that worth it? Like, that is so freaking worth it, at least to me. And I guess it comes down to what you value, but that is what I value. I value living a courageous life. I value being open to life, eating it up, taking the chance. I value finding out what the hell I'm made of and living a life that feels purposeful and brings me fulfillment. I am happiest when I know that I am open, that I am living courageously. And I am sadly disappointed in myself when I take opportunities to hide and avoid. And I let the habit of fear win. I want to expand. And the people who are willing to take those chances and bet on themselves, they will find a way to figure things out. I mean, look at like Sarah Blakely, who started Spanx, right? She failed the LSAT twice. She sold fax machines for door to door, like for years. And I remember reading something that she had like no fashion sense or business background, but she was in a position where she was like, you know what? I'm going to bet on myself. Like she had all the reasons not to go for it, to not like to fear looking stupid and getting rejected and failing. But then she went on to start Spanx and became the youngest self-made female billionaire. Crazy, right? Or like Oprah got fired from her first TV job as a news anchor, and she could have been like, well, I guess I'm not cut out to be on TV. I guess it's not for me. Maybe I should just go get a practical, regular, other safe job. But instead of listening to the fact that people told her, oh, you're unfit for television, she went on to build I don't even have to tell you, like the most influential media empire in freaking history. Right? Or Steve Jobs, he got pushed out of Apple, a company he created and he founded. And then he came back and built it into the most valuable company in the world. There are so many times we take hits and we come into hardship and challenges in our life that it would be so much easier to just go and hide and avoid and just and let those negative beliefs that maybe I don't deserve it, maybe I'm not worthy, maybe I'm not good enough, you let those win and sulk in the corner and become a victim of the circumstances. Or you can choose to say, you know what, that hurt, but I know what I'm capable of, and I know that I can bounce back, and I know that I'm resilient, and I know that I've gotten myself to this point up until now, so I can do it, right? And that betting on yourself, being able to trust yourself, that is the only bet that really matters. Because even if you go out there and you fail, you will be proud of yourself for trying. Like I said, people regret the things that they didn't do, not the things they did. Because even if you fail, it will probably lead you to something else, or will teach you a lesson that you needed to learn. It will take you to the next person. It will move you forward in your journey. But you can't move if you stay hiding in the corner. So listening to that inner pull, like when I got let go of, my coworker had texted me almost immediately. And I was like, what? Did you hear the news? Because he was like, oh, are you okay? And he's like, yeah, I saw your Slack got deactivated. And I was like, yeah, it's a bummer. And he was like, I have, there's another job I know of and I can connect you. And I knew who he was talking about that he could connect me with because it was someone I'd previously worked with. And I knew they liked me, and I knew I could probably get in there and have a semi-similar job and some immediate income. But there was something in me that knew, and I considered it for a second, but there was something in me that knew, if I did that, that was like spitting in the universe's face. That this was happening to me or for me for a reason. And if I just went back and got into that safety net, I was going to get tangled up. That would just be another version of the trap that I'd been in. And this was a net that I have been working to let go of for many years. And I keep trying to find safety and certainty in these jobs that don't make me happy, that I literally do just for money so I can try to create what I want to create on the side. But in having those safety nets, I always have a backup plan, and I'm never truly all in on my own dream and my own goal. And so I knew that what was required of me in this moment was and is leaning into uncertainty and the uncomfortability, trusting that this is exactly where I need to be. This is exactly the discomfort I need to be experiencing in order for me to move myself into the next phase. Because I can feel there's something coming and I get to trust myself move into that. And I know what some of you all might be thinking, like, I can't just quit my job. I can't just risk all my savings. I have family, I have responsibilities. Like 100%. That's not what I'm telling you to do. I'm not saying blow up your life or be reckless with your finances or your family stability. Like, no, that that's not, that's chaos. Like, don't do that. That responsibility is real. But if you genuinely do stay, I mean, and that's the part where you have to assess, like, is that true? Is this really like, or is that just my safety net, that, or my excuse to stay comfortable? But if you genuinely have to stay 100%, I get it. But don't go numb, right? Like, the worst thing you can do is stay in a situation or a job and abandon the thing that is calling you. Like, you can stay and you can still build, you know, before your day starts, or just like one thing that moves you forward each day or each week, one pitch sent, one step taken. The bet doesn't have to be all or nothing. It just has to be, aligned with you. Like, I'm just telling you right now from experience, that if you have that inner knowing, that pull that has been there, that you cannot ignore, I believe it's your responsibility to pursue that. There is something in there that is profound and is yours, and it's yours for a reason. And I think that's a really beautiful thing, to have that. So the question isn't, do I blow it all up? It's, am I actively moving towards what I want, or am I using my obligations as a reason to stand still? So just ask yourself honestly, right? Like, what am I holding on to right now? And knowing that it isn't right. Because whatever that inner pull is, it's a signal. It is not random. That is information. And you don't have to wait for life to make the decision for you. You don't have to wait to be drop kicked. You can make it for yourself right now, before the drop kick. But even if you do get drop kicked, the most important thing is that you are your own safety net. I can't emphasize that enough. Like, that you have handled everything that life has thrown at you up until now. So remembering your resources, your inner resources, your strength, your resilience, your determination, your persistence, and remembering your outer resources. If you've got people out there that can help support you, cheer you on, if you've got, friends, parents, a partner, pets that that can be there for you. Like, you've got a community, or you've got tools. Like, even there's outer resources that I would consider to be like self-care. Like, how to tend to your inner needs, or set boundaries, or take a freaking bubble bath when you need it. Like, those are all outer resources. So reminding yourself that you have got, or even like a home that you live in, you've got a roof over your head, you've got things that are in your corner. Sometimes it feels like we're all alone, and it's really hard. And I know that it can be really hard, but we forget the inner resources that we have and the outer resources that we have, and that we are not alone. And when we remind ourselves of that, we can build strength. The strength to, and hope, is not to be underrated. Having hope, that not living on hopium, but having a sense of like, there is something greater, there is something bigger than me, that is the universe, or whatever it is that you want to call it, your creator, like that's something out there that's bigger than you, has your back. And that you can rest into that you can have discipline and routines and structure and all those things, but knowing that there is something bigger holding you, I think really gives us a feeling of being able to be a little bit more at ease and have a little bit more peace as we move through the world, knowing that there is something bigger. There is this weird plan that maybe we don't understand, There is something, a map that we don't entirely see, but we're moving along, and it's designed for us. And all our challenges are designed specifically for us to evolve. And that's what we're here to do. So don't ignore the inner pull. It's yours. It's bringing you to something that is soulful, that nourishes you. And you know sometimes it does take a little bit of a drop kick life, removing the thing that you've been maybe holding on to, that's been a safety net, that's been a comfort, so that you can finally trust yourself to move. If something just fell apart, or something has been pulling at you that you keep ignoring, maybe it's happening for you. And the only question that matters now is, are you ready to bet on yourself? Hey there, thanks for tuning in. If this episode hit home, spread the love. Maybe share it with a friend or drop a comment. I'd love to know what landed for you. And remember, your voice matters. Whatever you're holding back, say it anyway.